Hello, and against all my previous thoughts and disappointment of Nintendo Switch OLED launch back in autumn last year, I made a video about it saying that it was a huge letdown for me. Well, against all those thoughts and uh, shit like that, I actually bought now Nintendo Switch OLED, and I exchanged my uh, version 1 Nintendo Switch to this, so I got this quite much cheaper, only a little bit over 200 euros, with me exchanging my original Nintendo Switch. And I'm going to little bit talk about why I ended up after all getting this. So it's been now over half a year since this was launched, and of course back then I was expecting Nintendo to really release a 4K and much more powerful Nintendo Switch, as many of the fans also assumed and predicted that they will uh, jump into the 4K uh, thing with their Switch, but yeah, I think it was for many a quite big disappointment, uh, especially for me. The initial confirmation that the next Switch model will only be a upgrade on other aspects, not the power itself being more powerful and supporting 4K. So yeah, we got the bigger screen Switch, the original being 6.2 inches, this is 7-inch screen, and of course the most, like it says, like it says there, the biggest selling point is the OLED, new OLED screen, which everyone knows who are somewhat into the technical side of things knows that OLED screens are so much better than LCD screens, much more deeper colors, the black is more black and white is more white, and etc. And we got the double of internal storage space from 32 to 64, better speakers, better stereo speakers on the console, as you can see, of course, new dock, which looks nice as it's white, and I got the black and white model because I think that's way more nicer looking than the, with red and blue Joy-Cons. I just like, the white and black and white combo, like on PlayStation 5. Uh, that always just wins, in my opinion. But yeah, and let's see what other did it have. Oh yeah, the much better stand, because the stand on the original Switch and version 2, which only pretty much improved the battery life, was ridiculously small, and it didn't hold it in the standing position if it wasn't a firm surface. If it was like my bed, I sometimes try to make it stand on this, but it was a no-go. It just fell over immediately. So with this new stand, being all the way from end to end, it really helps the console to actually stand up, keeping it in this position. So that is a huge improvement also. And yeah, also I was using a 64 gigabyte micro SD card on the original Switch, and I have quite many games, mostly digital games on Switch. So I had been struggling with storage space for quite some time. So this having a double the internal storage will help me a lot, actually. And yeah, the main reasons why I always pretty much played the original Switch on TV mode was the quite horrible, even at launch, when the Switch was new, when I bought it back in spring 2017. I didn't buy it immediately on launch, but a couple of months after the launch. I think the battery life already was quite poor, and over the years it just got worse and worse, and it was just ridiculously bad in the end. Like playing an hour or so, it was already from 100 to like 50% or even 40%. It was just horrible. So this should have a much better much better battery life than on Switch version 1, which I had. Of course, like I earlier said, the version 2, which pretty much only improved the battery life, there was no cosmetic changes in the Switch itself. It looked identical to the version 1, but it had much better battery life. And this has a much similar battery life than the version 2 Switch. So I think with this I will be playing much more on handheld mode, because now the battery life is much better, the screen is much nicer, bigger. So I always thought also that the 6.2 inch screen was not big enough to really, at least for me, to enjoy playing it on handheld. But the 7-inch screen is noticeably larger and will definitely be one of the biggest reasons I will play this much more on handheld mode from now on. And yeah, of course, the reason, may I say the biggest reason why I ended up buying this after all, is that I still after immediately after the launch of this OLED model, I thought that okay, maybe this is a kind of middle model and just, the appetizer before they release 4K model, that it will eventually come. But I like this after the launch of this, like it's been uh, over half a year and still I haven't read anything about the 4K model coming at all. And Nintendo has said quite many times that at this point they have no future plans to release any other model than that. this, this. So it might be that we will never see the 4K Switch after all, and it's already been. And I mean, if these rumors are true that Nintendo may be planning to release a next generation Nintendo console already in 2024, or around that time, 2025, there's really no reason anymore. If that's true, there's no reason, in my opinion, to even release a 4K model, the kind of middle model between two generations. No, it would be just stupid, release that in 1 year, let's say 2023, the 4K model, and then the all new Switch being it Nintendo console being it named Nintendo Switch 2 or something totally different the next year, 2024 or even 25. It would be insane. Like, who would buy 4K model if they know that the next gen Switch is coming in 1 or 2 years? So yeah, that's my that's my thoughts about the possible future releases of Nintendo Switch consoles. So yeah, I would say that was the biggest reason I got this, because yeah, I don't personally think that there will ever be a 4K model. Other than the 4K model we are talking about will be the all new next generation Nintendo console, being it Nintendo Switch 2, Super Nintendo Switch, whatever. So yeah, I'm actually now after all pretty happy that I got this, because yeah, the battery life was getting so bad on the original Switch, and I have always loved playing handheld, consoles, from the Nintendo Game Boy days to the all the way to the PlayStation Vita, and in between. I've always loved playing the console gaming on handheld, has always been my thing, and it was really sad thing that I played it so few times on the original Switch, because of the battery life, because of the in the end quite for me quite a small screen compared to this 7-inch, and the LCD screen wasn't a mind blower like, I mean, the OLED screen will definitely be uh, much nicer. I know that. So yeah, I haven't, as you can see, it's still in the package. The console is here. This is not empty, so I haven't even opened this, but I just got this and yeah, decided to do a video and explaining a little bit why I ended up after all getting this. But this is it. Finally got that, because yeah, to be honest, it kinda teased me, getting when I saw, even if it was a huge disappointment for me at start, that it was not the rumored 4K model, I immediately thought that, oh, that looks so much nicer. It looks like gorgeous model in comparison to the original, which actually looks pretty mediocre. The uh, visually it doesn't look that nice in my opinion, but that looks like it's way better looking, and I've always been a visual person, so how things look, they will uh, they will be a big selling point for me in electronics, mostly. Uh, so yeah, now now I finally got it, and now I'm just hoping that Nintendo doesn't come with the surprise, announcement. Oh, there will actually be a 4K model coming next year or something. But yeah, the possibilities for that is, I think, very, very small. I don't personally think that we will ever see a 4K model. The next model and Nintendo console will probably be a next gen Nintendo console altogether. Anyway, this is it, and see you in the next video.